Hello, students. A very fresh and beautiful morning to all of you. I hope you all are in good health and taking great care of yourself. So, students, as you know that we have completed our reading 1, reading 2 and vocabulary portion of the chapter The Diamond Maker, right? So, now we are going to move ahead with the grammar. Grammar, we have completed the explanation of this portion, relative clauses. As I told you, relative clauses refers to adjective clauses, and these clauses talks more about the noun or the pronoun in the sentence. It modifies the noun or the pronoun of the sentence, and the relative pronouns which are being used are who, whom, which, that, whose, right, and when and where also. So these are some of the relative pronouns which are being used to describe the relative to describe the noun in the sentence which is in the main clause, right? As I told you before that a sentence is normally divided into two clauses. One is the main clause and the second one is subordinate clause. And here we are going to learn about the subordinate clause, that is relative clause. And we also studied the table given over here. We use who and whom for the person or people. Okay. We use who when we are referring to the doer of the action, that means the subject of the action. And we use whom when we are referring to the person in object position. Okay, that means normally when we are talking about a passive voice, when we are talking about the sentence in passive voice where the subject is placed on the place of object. Okay, so we use whom over there. And we use which and that for things and animals. Normally we do use that for person also, लेकिन ज़्यादातर हम लोग who ही use करते हैं. Which और that हम use करते हैं animal and things के लिए. And whose is used to show the possessions, right, belonging of a person. For that we are going to use whose. Okay. So I hope that you are clear till here. Now let's move on. I request you students to open page 123. Here we need to read something about the relative clauses, and there is one more thing which you need to understand about it. So let's see the sentence 1. My brother who lives in Pune is an architect. And the second sentence, same thing along with the commas. My brother who lives in Pune is an architect. Now there is a difference in the meaning of two sentences. Now if you read it out without punctuations, right, without commas, आपको लगेगा कि दोनों सेंटेंस सेम है. लेकिन दूसरे सेंटेंस में कॉमास लगाने की वजह से कहीं कहीं पे एम्फोसिस डाला गया है सेंटेंस में, राइट, एंड दैट्स व्हाई द डिफरेंस, देयर इज अ डिफरेंस इन द मीनिंग. So let's see the difference, what it is. In sentence 1, the speaker is giving two important bits of information. What is that? That his brother who lives in Pune, right? One of the brother. मतलब शायद काफ़ी सारे होंगे, 2-3 होंगे, उसमें से जो एक है वो पुणे में रहता है और वो आर्किटेक्ट है, राइट. मतलब उसके एक से ज़्यादा भाई होंगे, इसीलिए उसने ऐसा लिखा है कि माई ब्रदर हु लिव्स इन पुणे, राइट. दैट मीन्स दैट ही माइट बी हैविंग मोर देन वन ब्रदर एंड दैट्स वाई ही इज स्पेसिफाइंग दैट ही हैज़ मोर देन वन ब्रदर्स. और उसमें से एक भाई है जो पुणे में है एंड ही इज़ एन आर्किटेक्ट. ओके, सो यू कैन सी हियर द स्पीकर. In first sentence, the speaker is giving two important bits of information. The first is the speaker has more than one brother, and of all her brothers, the one who lives in Pune is an architect. Okay, so here you can see there are two bits of information. First one कि उसके एक से ज़्यादा भाई है, इसीलिए वो स्पेसिफाई कर रही है my brother who lives in Pune is an architect. And दूसरा है कि जो एक भाई है वो पुणे में आर्किटेक्ट का काम करता है और आर्किटेक्ट है वो. द सेंटेंस वांट्स टू से that none of her other brother is an architect or lives in Pune. So in this sentence, the clause who lives in Pune is an example of restrictive relative clause. A clause that is necessary to express the complete meaning of the sentence. Now restrictive defining relative clause मतलब that clause is necessary, तभी हमें वो सेंटेंस का मीनिंग पता चलेगा. ओके वो पूरा कंप्लीट सेंटेंस का मीनिंग कब पता चलेगा? जब वो रिलेटिव क्लॉज है अगर उस सेंटेंस में तो हम उसको रिस्ट्रिक्टिंग या फिर डिफाइनिंग रिलेटिव क्लॉज भी कह सकते हैं. ओके नाउ इफ यू सी द सेकेंड सेंटेंस, the speaker intends to give one main bit of information, and what is that? The speaker's brother is an architect. Okay, that is the most important thing. If you see the commas over here, my brother who lives in Pune is an architect. So my brother is an architect. That is a main clause, and who lives in Pune over here is relative clause, जैसे कि पहले सेंटेंस में था, राइट. लेकिन यहाँ पे अगर हम ऐसा लिखते हैं माई ब्रदर इज़ एन आर्किटेक्ट, सो इट्स ओके, क्योंकि उसका एक ही भाई होगा और वो भाई आर्किटेक्ट है, तो इतना काफ़ी है. हु लिव्स इन पुणे ज़रूरी नहीं है यहाँ पर दूसरे सेंटेंस में. ओके इन सेकेंड सेंटेंस इफ़ यू सी द इंफॉर्मेशन दैट हर ब्रदर लिव्स इन पुणे इज़ एक्स्ट्रा, एंड दैट्स वाई इट इज़ सेपरेटेड विथ कॉमास. उसको अलग क्यों रखा गया है, कॉमास से सेपरेट क्यों किया गया है? क्योंकि वो इंफॉर्मेशन ज़रूरी नहीं है. द स्पीकर सीम्स टू हैव ओनली वन ब्रदर एंड ही इज़ एन आर्किटेक्ट. सो इन दिस सेंटेंस द क्लॉज हु लिव्स इन पुणे इज़ एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ नॉन रिस्ट्रिक्टिव रिलेटिव क्लॉज. नॉन रिस्ट्रिक्टिव या फिर नॉन डिफाइंग, दैट मीन्स कि अगर वो क्लॉज सेंटेंस में नहीं है तब भी सेंटेंस का जो मेन क्लॉज है वो क्लियरली कंप्लीट सेंस बनाता है. इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी, वो एक एक्स्ट्रा इंफॉर्मेशन के तौर पर है जिसकी ज़रूरत नहीं है. ठीक है, तो उसको हम नॉन रिस्ट्रिक्टिव रिलेटिव क्लॉज कहते हैं या फिर नॉन डिफाइनिंग रिलेटिव क्लॉज कहते हैं. ओके एंड the clause that conveys extra information and is not necessary to express the complete meaning of the sentence. So here you need to remember one thing कि अगर sentence में जो relative clause है, if that clause is just giving extra information about the noun, okay, then that can be considered as non-restrictive relative clause. But if that relative clause is giving the information which is important and which is needed to complete the meaning of the sentence, then that clause is considered to be restrictive or defining relative clause. Okay, you can look for it in your grammar textbook, that is Adventures with Grammar and Composition, chapter number 14. You can go through it. I will try to teach you that portion if I would be having time after completing your course book. But yes, you can have a look over there. The same thing has been explained in that book also. So you can see that. Now, I hope that you are clear with restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. So here, you need to rewrite the following sentences using relative clause to combine them with the information given in the bracket. See, the first one is done for you. All the guests went to the garden and they were served tea in the garden. So, that is an information given in the bracket which needs to be added in the sentence. So, how are we going to write it down? All the guests went to the garden where they were served tea. So, यहाँ पे जो हमारा relative clause है where they were served tea, right? वो start होता है हमारा प्रोनाउन वेयर से. ठीक है, रिलेटिव प्रोनाउन वेयर से स्टार्ट होता है क्योंकि यहाँ पे ये जो एडिशनल इन्फॉर्मेशन मिल रही है वो हमें प्लेस के बारे में मिल रही है, राइट. the garden. The guest went to the garden जहाँ पे उनको tea serve की जा रही है, right? So you can write all the guests went to the garden where they were served tea. Now let's see the exercise. The lady can't stop crying. The lady's dog has been stolen. So let's see the answer number 1. The lady whose dog has been stolen can't stop crying. Now if you see the sentence in your textbook, bracket में जो लिखा है वो क्या है? The lady's dog has been stolen. So here possession दिखा रहा है कि dog किसका है, right? इसीलिए possession दिखाने के लिए हमने यूज़ किया है whose. The lady whose dog has been stolen can't stop crying. So this is your relative clause. Okay. Now let's see the second sentence. I don't like the actor. The actor won an Oscar. So हम किसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे? एक्टर के बारे में, who is a human being, and that's why we can use who over here. So I don't like the actor who won the Oscar. So ये हो गया हमारा रिलेटिव क्लॉज, ठीक है. और बाकी का ये जो है वो है मेन क्लॉज. शी वेंट टू द रेस्टोरेंट and she had read about the restaurant in the newspaper. So what they are talking about, यहाँ पे किसके बारे में बात हो रही है ज़्यादा? They are talking more about restaurant, and that is a place. So here they have used that. She went to the restaurant that she read about in the newspaper, right? So this is your relative clause. Now instead of that you can also write which. She went to the restaurant which she had read about in the newspaper. Okay, so let's see the fourth sentence. The gentleman never came by again. She had left a bouquet for the gentleman. So here the person whom we are talking about is in the place of object. Okay, she had left a bouquet for the gentleman. So gentleman के लिए bouquet छोड़ा था. किसने छोड़ा था? she, right? तो यहाँ पे gentleman जो है जिसके बारे में बात हो रही है वो है हमारा ऑब्जेक्ट की पोजीशन पर. तो हम whom यूज़ कर सकते हैं, और अगर नहीं यूज़ करेंगे तो भी चलेगा. So let's see the sentence for it. Okay, so sir, here you can see the sentence. The gentleman she had left a bouquet for never came by again. Here there is no relative pronoun being used, but if you want to use, you can write the sentence. The gentleman for whom she had left a bouquet never came by again. You can use whom if you want to, but before that you have to place for. Now let's see the fifth one. We left the suitcase with the police. We had found the suitcase at the station. So they are talking about the suitcase, right? So we can use that or which over here. We left the suitcase that we found at the station with the police. Okay, so here that we had found at the station is our relative clause. Now let's see the next one. What's the name of the book that you wanted me to read? Right? I'm sorry, that's the answer. Let's see the question. What's the name of the book? You wanted me to read the book. So here they are talking more about the book. So यहाँ पे जब आंसर लिखेंगे तो क्या होगा? What's the name of the book that you wanted me to read? Because we are talking more about book, इसीलिए हमने relative pronoun that यूज़ करके हमारा relative clause लिखा है. what's the name of the book that you wanted me to read. Let's see the next one. I am looking for the shop. The shop sells old books. So again they are talking more about the shop, right? So ये हमारा object, that is the thing, and that's why we are going to use that. I am looking for the shop that sells old books. So this is your relative clause starting with pronoun that. The next one, the dress was very pretty. Agnes was wearing the dress. So dress के बारे में है, right? The dress that Agnes was wearing was very pretty. So here that Agnes was wearing, that is our relative clause. And as we are talking about dress, we have used the relative pronoun that. Let's see the ninth one. She gave the letter to her aunt. She met her aunt at the theater. So now here if you see again the same situation just like fourth one, कि she gave the letter to her aunt, right? She gave, that means उसने letter दिया, और aunt कौन है? ऑब्जेक्ट की पोजीशन पर है और उसके बारे में बता रही है कि वो अपनी आंट को कहाँ मिली? एट द थिएटर, राइट? सो व्हेन वी आर गोइंग टू राइट द रिलेटिव, व्हेन वी आर गोइंग टू जॉइन दिस सेंटेंसेस, वी वुड बी राइटिंग शी गेव द लेटर टू हर आंट whom she met at the theater, राइट? यहाँ पे उसके आंट के बारे में ज़्यादा बात हो रही है, इसीलिए आंट जो है अभी ऑब्जेक्ट की पोजीशन पर है, इसीलिए हमने whom यूज़ किया है. whom she met at the theater. ओके. Now the last one, the chemist's shop is nearby and she works at the chemist's shop. So here किसके बारे में बात हो रही है? What are they talking about? They are talking about a place, right, which is nearby. That is the chemist shop. And that's why we are going to write the chemist shop where she works is nearby. Okay, so where she works is our relative clause which starts with where, because it is describing the place. Okay, so students, I hope that you are clear with relative pronouns, relative clauses. So now let's see the pronunciation portion of your chapter, that is on page 124. Here we are going to study about the word stress. We need to read out the words aloud and underline the stressed syllables in each word. Now, what do you mean by syllable? I hope that you know that it is a unit of pronunciation having one vowel sound with or without surrounding consonants, forming the whole or a part of word. For example, if I say water, right? If I say water, तो आपको कौन से दो वॉवेल के साउंड सुनाई देते हैं? वो, that is O, and t, right? So there are two vowel sounds over here. That means there are two syllables in this word. So it depends on the sound of the vowel that you can hear. Okay, that is called syllable. Now here they have given different examples. जैसे कि perform, हमको stressed syllable ढूंढना है. Stressed syllable means we need to find out जिसके ऊपर ज़्यादा जोर दिया जाता है, right? The word which is being, the syllable which is being stressed more. जैसे कि perform. So perform के अंदर जब हम बोलते हैं perform, so here there are two syllables, right? पहले per में आता है, PER में, और फिर फॉर्म में आता है. लेकिन जब हम बोलते हैं तो ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस कौन से वर्ड पर आता है? फॉर्म के ऊपर, मतलब ओ का जो साउंड है वो ज़्यादा अच्छे से सुनाई देता है, राइट? उस पर ज़्यादा जोर दिया जाता है. सो व्हेन यू से परफॉर्म, you are stressing the syllable O. Okay. In the same way, humid. Here, the vowel sound of U is stressed more. Classroom. Classroom. So, A. Over here, the syllable A is being stressed. And in the same way, set up. Set up. Right? When you say set up, that means set के अंदर जो सिलेबल है ए का, जो ई का साउंड है, राइट? ई का साउंड होता है ए. वो आपने फोनिक्स पढ़ा है, उसके हिसाब से मैं आपको बोल रही हूँ कि फोनिक्स के हिसाब से ए मतलब ई का साउंड होता है. सो वो उसके ऊपर ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस दिया जा रहा है, राइट? सो दैट इज़ द स्ट्रेच सिलेबल. सो यू नीड टू रिमेंबर पहले तो कि सिलेबल क्या होता है. सिलेबल मीन्स वन वोवेल साउंड इन द वर्ड, राइट? उसको हम सिलेबल कहते हैं. जो आवाज़ विथ या विदाउट कॉन्सोनेंट्स आता है, उसके आजू बाजू के जो कॉन्सोनेंट्स होते हैं वोवेल के साथ, उसका साउंड कभी कभी होता है और कभी कभी नहीं होता है. इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी दैट इट वुड बी देयर, बट सिलेबल का मतलब होता है साउंड ऑफ द वोवेल इन द वर्ड. ओके, नाउ लेट्स सी द एक्सरसाइज ओवर हियर. वी नीड टू अंडरलाइन द स्ट्रेस्ड सिलेबल इन ईच वर्ड. So here the first word is candid. So when you pronounce candid, the stressed syllable is this one, right? Candid. So here the a sound is being stressed. मतलब ये वाला जो syllable है can के अंदर का, वो हमको ज़्यादा stress करके बोलना पड़ता है. Candid. The second one is imitation, right? Imitation. So यहाँ पे टे का साउंड जो है वो ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस हुआ है. इमिटेशन. थर्ड वन इज वैनगार्ड. वैनगार्ड. सो वैन इज द सिलेबल विच इज बीइंग स्ट्रेस्ड मोर. प्लेट. प्लेट. सो व्हेन यू से प्लेट, PLA का जो साउंड है, दैट सिलेबल इज बीइंग स्ट्रेस्ड मोर. रिफ्यूज. रिफ्यूज. सो व्हेन यू से रिफ्यूज, which is a verb, here fuse is heard more, or it is being stressed more. Okay, and the last one is decide. Decide. So what do you hear more? Which syllabus is stressed more? I wala, right? जो है CI. That is the syllable which is being stressed more. इन सब के अंदर आप नोटिस करोगे कि they are having the consonant sound also, but the most important is the vowel sound in it. Okay, now let's see the second exercise. So students, here are some points which you should remember, that in a compound noun the stress is generally on the first word. For example, toothpaste. So here there are two nouns. Compound nouns means a noun which is made up of two parts. That means two nouns होते हैं उसके अंदर, जैसे कि tooth and paste. So there are two of them. और उसमें पहला वर्ड जो होता है जनरली उसी पे ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस होता है, toothpaste. Okay, so here the syllable U is heard and that is being stressed. The second one is in a compound adjective. The stress is generally on the second word. For example, well known. Well known. So here जो syllable के ऊपर ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस है वो वर्ड है known. ठीक है, कंपाउंड एडजेक्टिव. कंपाउंड एडजेक्टिव मतलब दोनों ही जो वर्ड्स होंगे वो नाउन को डिस्क्राइब करने के लिए ही यूज़ होते हैं. that means that is made up of two words, that is well and known. And in a compound verb, the stress may be on the first or second verb. It's not necessary कि कौन से ऊपर पड़ रहा है, क्योंकि वो कभी कभी पहले के ऊपर हो सकता है या फिर दूसरे के ऊपर भी हो सकता है. So it is compound verb. That means the word is made up of two verbs. Okay, तो उसको compound verb कहते हैं, जैसे कि kick start या फिर force feed. Okay, so kick start के अंदर पहले वाले वर्ड पर ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस है, तो syllable उसका ज़्यादा stressed हो गया. And second one, force feed. So here the syllable which is being stressed is feed. Okay. Now let's see exercise 2. We need to read the following words and underline the stressed syllable in each word. So here the first word is football. So when you say football, the first noun is being stressed more. मतलब first noun का जो syllable है ये compound noun है और उसके अंदर जो पहला वाला noun है, right, football. So foot जो है उसके अंदर जो syllable है ऊ, right, that syllable is being stressed more. The second word is polythene. So here poly is being stressed. So इसका syllable stressed syllable होगा poly. ओ का जो साउंड है, राइट, ओ का जो वॉवेल है उसका जो साउंड है दैट इज बीइंग स्ट्रेस्ड मोर. द थर्ड वन इज अंडरस्टैंड. अंडरस्टैंड, राइट. नाउ दिस इज द वर्ब एंड द सेकेंड वन इज बीइंग स्ट्रेस्ड मोर. सो यहाँ पे स्टैंड का जो सिलेबल है दैट इज स्ट्रेस्ड मोर. नेक्स्ट वन इज ग्रीन हाउस. ग्रीन हाउस. Here green is the syllable which is being stressed more. Okay. Next one is blackbird. Again here the word black is being stressed more. The next one is old fashioned. Old fashioned. So here जो हमारा adjective है, राइट, ओल्ड एंड फैशन्ड दोनों ही एडजेक्टिव है. दैट मीन्स इट इज़ अ कंपाउंड एडजेक्टिव. और उसके अंदर जो सेकेंड वर्ड है फैशन्ड उसमें ये जो सिलेबल है फैशन्ड. फैशन्ड. सो योर फैश का जो साउंड है, राइट, फैश, वो ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस्ड है. सो दैट इज़ द सिलेबल विच इज़ बीइंग स्ट्रेस्ड मोर. इन द सेम वे सिक्स्थ वन, ill-mannered. Ill-mannered. So here when you hear two adjectives, ill and mannered, so here man, first three letters, that is M-A-N, that is being stressed more. मतलब syllable कौन सा है यहाँ पे, कौन से vowel का sound आ रहा है, A का, right, ill-mannered. Next one is overflow. Overflow. This is a verb, you can say compound verb, जिसके अंदर second वाला जो verb है flow, overflow. So here that is being stressed more. ठीक है. So let's see the last topic of your chapter, that is life skills, and here we are going to learn about decision making. In everyday life we make different kinds of decision. For example, when to play, when to socialize, how much time to devote to school. That means that in our day-to-day routine life, there are many things for which we need to take decisions, right? और उस decisions के short term effects होते हैं और long term effects होते हैं. So यहाँ पे जो table है, you need to show you need to write down the short term and long term effects. The first one is done for you. For example, miss school and play. That means bunk the school or don't go to school and go out for playing. So what would be the short term effect? It would be you might enjoy a lot, right? You might have a lot of fun when you miss the school and go out for play. लेकिन long term effects क्या होंगे? Your grades might suffer and it would impact your career choices. That means if you don't study regularly, if you don't go to school regularly, and instead of going to school you play, what happens? If you keep on doing that, your grades would suffer and at the end आपके पास कैरियर चॉइसेस जो है वो काफ़ी लिमिटेड रह जाएगी क्योंकि आपके ग्रेड्स गिर जाएंगे. ठीक है, इसीलिए कैरियर के लिए जो चॉइसेस अवेलेबल होगी वो कम हो जाएगी और ये आपके फ्यूचर के ऊपर इफ़ेक्ट करेगा. नाउ लेट्स सी द रेस्ट. I would be sharing you the sample answers, but you can write the answers by yourself, okay? So here the second one is sleep late. So what could be the short-term effect? That when you sleep late, you can read a book. But what could be the long term effect? The long term effect would be there might be a lack of concentration in the next day, right? In your next day routine, what would happen? Because of the lack of sleep, you didn't sleep well at night, you just stayed awake to read a book or to watch a movie or to play games on the mobile, right? If you do those things, you might enjoy that thing at that time, लेकिन उसका लॉन्ग टर्म इफेक्ट क्या होगा? आपके दूसरे दिन के रूटीन पर वो इफेक्ट दिखेगा. You won't be able to concentrate in your studies or whatever work you do because you didn't sleep well. Okay. Now third one, eat fast food. That means you eat junk food. What would be the short term effects? Your tongue might enjoy it, right? You might enjoy the taste, but in long term effects would be it is unhealthy and it would cause you obesity. Obesity means fatness. ठीक है, तो वो आपके लॉन्ग टर्म इफेक्ट्स हो जाएंगे. नाउ इफ़ यू डिसाइड टू वॉच टीवी, you might have fun, which is short term, but if you keep on watching TV, if you don't have any schedule कि ठीक है आपने पूरे दिन में हाफ एन आवर या 1 आवर मूवी देखा या टीवी देखा, ठीक है, तो अगर आपका ऐसा कोई स्केड्यूल नहीं है एंड यू कीप ऑन वॉचिंग मूवी और यू कीप ऑन वॉचिंग टीवी, you would lose time for studies and other activities too. ओके, सिर्फ स्टडीज़ के लिए तो टाइम नहीं जाएगा, लेकिन उसके अलावा बाकी सारी एक्टिविटीज़ जो है वो भी आप नहीं कर पाओगे. द नेक्स्ट वन इज़ यू रीड स्टोरी बुक्स. सो इफ़ यू रीड स्टोरी बुक्स, that is a good thing and a good habit. So you can say that short term effect would be you enjoy reading that book, and the long term effect would be you might have vivid imagination. That means you might have variety of imagination in your head because the story books gives you that so it would give you the capability of imagining, right? Now let's see the last one, study hard for the exams. Now when you study hard, when you work hard, the short term effect would be you might feel tired and you might feel exhausted. But if you work hard regular basis, if you work hard on regular basis, the long term effects would be you would score well or you would score good in the exams. Okay, so these are some short term and long term effects over here. If you feel that you can write any other effects, then you are welcome to do that. Okay, and on page number 125 you need to write down about the decisions you made during this week. So here you need to write down the decisions that you have taken during this week. So you need to fill it by yourself. Okay, and I hope that this chapter is clear. We would be starting with the poem in the next video. Take care.